Day 42 on the Florida Trail, and right off the bat I'm trying to avoid getting my feet wet already. So let's see if I succeed or not. It's a beautiful sunny day, but there's lots of dew on the ground too, so that adds to it. So, tiptoe around. We stayed at the Ocean Pond campground last night, and it's as neat as it sounds. This trail goes right by it, so it was a no-brainer to stay there, and it's first come, first serve. Really nice. I got to have a shower. That always makes the news. But when I was editing my video last night, I noticed that there was a crumb on my face the whole time. I'm so distraught. I can't go back and erase it. So you guys will just have to take a blind eye to some of my blemishes. Oh, I gotta do better to really check my face after I eat. Oh. I'll be finishing out Osceola National Forest today, I'm pretty sure. So that's exciting. When Joseph and his brothers were done dining, Joseph gave them one final test to see if they had really changed or not. He had his steward take his silver cup and put it into Benjamin's sack, along with all their money they had brought. The brothers headed back home in the morning, loaded with all the grain and with all their brothers. I'm sure they were very happy that everyone was returning, Simeon included. He was the one that was kept behind in Egypt in prison. However, when they were just outside of the city and not gone very far, Joseph had his steward chase them down and say, "Why have you repaid evil for good?" He accused them of taking Joseph's cup. I'm not sure what the purpose is of two boards in the middle of a swamp. But I am getting wet. So yeah, two boards for a minute. I guess it's just that it's pretty cold out right now. Okay. Shoot. Sugar. Ooh, that sinks down. Yeah, I just have to grin and bear it. Just know it's gonna happen. Boy, you can really hear the traffic on the freeway from here. But isn't it a sparkly morning? Anyway, this was no ordinary drinking cup. This was a valuable possession and an item small enough that could fit in a grain sack. And Joseph's purpose was to create a situation by which he could legitimately claim the right to retain Benjamin in Egypt, and so give his brothers an excuse for returning to Canaan without the favorite of their father. By this test, he could determine without a doubt what kind of men they were now. So the brothers said, "Why does my Lord say these things? Let whoever has the cup die, and the rest of us will be your slaves." They were so sure that none of them had taken it. So the brothers took their sacks down, and the steward began searching through them, beginning from the oldest to the youngest. And of course he found the cup in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, loaded their donkey, and went back to the city. Judah was the spokesperson for the brothers, and when Joseph accused them, he said, "What shall we say to my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God has found out the iniquity of your servants, and we are now your slaves." But Joseph said, nope, I just want the man whose cup was in his sack to be my slave. The rest of you can go home. Here's some more sloppy mess. Little lily pads growing in the pathway. Wow. Oh my. Do you see what's up ahead? Oh. Let me get through this part first. Whoa. Look at this. So thankful for this bridge. Because that is some deep water. Like seriously deep water. The reflections are so neat in the water. Whoa. Talk about an adventure. Oh. But where's the other bridge? Oh, good. Hallelujah, I see a pathway. Crazy. I think we can bushwhack around this. Somebody made a path, whether it was a deer or I'll make my own path. There's probably like 100 snakes laughing at me. Or 100 birds anyway. Okay. Oh, sure. More of the same. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. Anyway, I won't take you guys anymore. It's crazy. Well, anyway, then Judah said, "Oh, my Lord." And he told about how their aged father loves Benjamin so much and how he would go to the grave if he did not return. They had promised that they would bring him back, and that's the only reason he was allowed to go in the first place. Then Judah said, "Please let me take the place of Benjamin and be your slave, and release Benjamin so that he can go back to his father." Judah's self-sacrificing is certainly deserving of praise. He voluntarily submitted to servitude on behalf of a brother who enjoyed a higher degree of his father's affection in order to save his old father from fresh sorrow and anguish. Judah emerges from here a truly converted man, and it is from his line that the Messiah comes. Judah was willing to lay down his life for his brother, just like Jesus was willing to die for us. Joseph could no longer doubt that a complete change had overcome his brothers. Realizing this, Joseph could restrain himself no longer. Wishing to be alone with his brothers while he revealed his identity to them, and feeling like he could not keep back his tears, he asked all his attendants to leave the room. Then he wept aloud and said, "I am Joseph. Does my father still live?" But his brothers could not answer him because they were in total shock. Then Joseph said, "Please come near me. I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But don't be grieved or angry that you sold me here. God sent me here to preserve life. Then he explained the famine and said, God has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of all his household, and a ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry and go to my father, and you will all come and live here in the land of Goshen, and I will provide for you, because there is still 5 years of famine left. Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin cried too. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Pharaoh and his household heard the weeping, and when he heard that Joseph's family was there, it pleased him. And Pharaoh said, "You must all move here and be looked after." The brothers were troubled with all this news and speechless. They were terrified not only of Joseph's greatness, but of the crime they had committed against him and what he could now do to them. The mighty Lord of Egypt was their brother. He assured them in the kindest words that he had no intention of taking revenge on them. He could not avoid the illusion of their former wickedness, but this was done in a spirit of charity and forgiveness. And by saying that God's hand was involved in the strange experience of him being a favorite son, then a slave, then a prisoner, and finally a ruler over Egypt, he eased his troubled brothers. Now, what is this bridge useful for? A dry bridge. Anyway, it makes it interesting. Nice seating area. But honestly, what is the attraction here? Why do they have this? I'm missing something. Joseph was so gracious, but it was only when he embraced and kissed his brothers that it finally sunk into them that this really was Joseph, and then they were able to freely converse with him. This just goes to show what the love of God dwelling within you is capable of. By revealing himself as a loving brother and not an offended judge, and by his kisses and tears, he had given them assurance of complete forgiveness. They could then relax. I've got quite a bit of this kind of situation, like for 3.5 miles. So it's working out that I get to bike it. I am very, very happy. I'm still riding my bike. It's much more than 3.5 miles. But here is this huge water situation. But thankfully, look at that trestle. So I'm gonna see if I can get up there. Yeah, it's old trestle, but it's doing the job. Hopefully I don't fall through anywhere. Whoa, big cracks. So this is my situation now. I have to ford quite a deep stream, I guess. Or I could bushwhack a bit. Whoa. There's a fence over there, and then bushes over there. I think I better bushwhack it. Nothing like bushwhacking with a bicycle going through palmettos, but I did it and it was worth it. I got a good long ride today, and now back into the woods for a couple of miles. But it is kind of a rough path here. They haven't maintained it in quite a while, I would say. Somehow this is deja vu of the Apalachicola. Well, to wrap up a most interesting day, you know, we may go through years and years of trials, and we don't know what they're all about. But we just have to put our trust in Jesus and have him give us strength. And then we can rest assured that he will work it out for what is best in God's plan. We just have to put our trust in him. I can hear the highway, so that means I am almost done. I will have done 21.5 miles today, and roughly 7 of them were hiking. So a really excellent day as far as covering ground was concerned. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.